What's going on, everybody? This is Jordan with Conquer Trading and Investing. Glad to be here this morning with you. Good afternoon, good evening, wherever you might be in the world. Glad you're all here together. Definitely, by far bar none, the best community online. And that's what we got going over here. We got a lot to work with today, a lot to take a look at. We're going to take our time following our flow. We're going to start with the S&P 500, drop into the Nasdaq and the Dow. Take a look at what's going on with the dollar, the DXY, gold, silver, Bitcoin. And then we're going to get into FX and go through all the pairs together. Do you care about Great to see you. Thanks, David, for being here this morning. John, Bitcoin is bid today. Kip's got a chart I want to share with you. Let's go get into it right now, everyone. Again, by the way, 50,000. So grateful for that. It's a huge milestone. Let's start off with the S&P 500. We have the Federal Reserve tomorrow, FOMC meetings at 2 o'clock p.m., right? 2 o'clock p.m. And then you have at 2:30 starting the press conference that could be watched on YouTube. All you need to do is just a quick search, Federal Reserve press conference. Let's see what we got going on over here. Yep, Bitcoin is bouncing off of that broken resistance this morning, what we were looking at yesterday. We'll look at it, but let's find out what's going on with the markets today. We had an important signal, right? The break of this trend line that we looked at yesterday afternoon. We've broken above it, right? But look over here. We're following my mouse. 34.24. We got to get above that area. You can see that little bit of support over there. That little bit of support over there. Turn resistance. It's a level that we have to break above in order to finally have made a higher high on a swing high. Now, is it possible that we only come in right around that area? Let me just draw a little thing and then come back down. And then this would be great if we found the little support right over there and resumed off of it. Another opportunity, right? For those that didn't get this one over here on Monday morning in Asia. Another opportunity is going to be if we break above 34.24, if we break above that last swing high, right? And then wait for the next pullback and get back in. FOMC's tomorrow. We're going to trade through. We're going to find out what's going on. Right now, markets continue to look bullish. Miguel mentioned something about more stimulus possibly on the way. I haven't seen any headlines yet this morning myself. So we'll take a look at that possibly this afternoon. We're just going to follow price action right now. Make sure that we're all doing pretty well. I'm going to extend this next line of let me fix that over here. I'm going to extend this line over here of resistance up just so I can continue tracking it. Right? Because that's the next point that we could be coming into. You notice that we are still on the Nasdaq, just completely range bound over here. Right? You can see that we're still range bound over here. We have a good amount of resistance to take out over here on the Nasdaq before we start regaining. This was a lot of damage done. That was a lot of technical damage done. Before we regain that, we have a lot of work yet still to do. All that's happened is that we've held this important critical support. It's not out of the woods by a long shot just yet. Let's see what the reaction is to FOMC tomorrow. And the only reason I bring that up is because there's still a lot of work to be done before everyone starts getting really like FOMO and feel good. We're not there yet. We still got a lot of work to do. What about on the Dow? How's that looking? We were looking yesterday saying this probably looked like the best setup out of the indices. It's coming off very nicely over there now into that resistance over there, right? So you could see, I love that it's a bull flag and we're, in an uptrend and now we're resuming out of it. But you could see everything we're looking at is kind of coming into some resistance, including the Dow right now. So anyone in that trade into that resistance, make sure you take a small piece off at least. What about the DXY? What about the DXY? BlockFi. Big shout out to BlockFi. DXY, I thought, by the way, let me zoom in over here just so everyone gets a quick look right now, because I thought yesterday during A's in session, I said overnight, I said if we take out 92.90, the low of that candle right there, I thought we could see a pretty big fall and come back down and test 92.70, down over here. And then maybe if we broke through there, it would be off to the races. That's not what happened. Prices stabilized. And you can see that we're still holding so far this morning that trend line support. You can see these wicks over here. The dollar is not yet able to make a move, right? You can see that support continues to hold, perhaps appropriately so, ahead of the FOMC tomorrow, because how much could the market do ahead of the FOMC? We're in a holding pattern. We'll keep tracking this, though. We'll keep tracking. I really thought if we took out 92.90 last night that we were going to bleed a little bit. That has not happened. You can see twice we've wicked below that area of trend line support, and both times there were no sellers to continue pushing that down. So let's see what happens this session. As always, the next couple of hours are super important as we get towards the end of the London session. Let's look at what's going on with gold traded as high as 1972. I thought it was 1970. 1972, right? That's the area. We're looking into the area of resistance over there. We got to clear above this area over here, this 1976, clear above it in order to really get going super bullish over here. Right now, we continue, even though this is not a neat line over here. Right, when I say this is not a neat line, like we're still making a triangle. That's why I said yesterday we got to clear above 1976 in order for this to get going really bullish and for us to say that we're breaking out and then possibly at that point testing the all-time high on gold. What about on silver? Everyone's aware of the, let me just, why we're here, because there's nothing else to say about it. Why we're here, right? As long as we're above 1900, it's super bullish. Silver looks like it's trying to break out over here, but again, this line is also a little bit arbitrary, right? That's why you got to be loose. You can't be so tight with your lines. It's still a triangle that's developing. Okay, it's still a triangle. Don't consider that yet a breakout. Follow gold, right? Follow gold. If gold starts breaking above 1976, then silver probably will follow suit. I maintain the target over here, looking over there to target, take profits into full profits for any swing traders, because if we break above and we start opening up to the upside, then at that point we'll try to get long again, because silver could run into the end of the year for sure. Especially if we're talking about stimulus. I haven't seen those headlines yet. We'll get back to them and we will figure it all out together. Let's take a look. Before we move into Bitcoin, let's see what oil is doing this morning. You could see we've talked about this being the place to lean into, that $37 support. So far it's holding. You know, I can't get too excited about oil, and I'm not. You could see that little bit. This might be a fake break. You can see that consolidation pattern over here, right? If we now lose that support after getting people sucked in out of there, that's why we don't trade breakouts, by the way. That's why we don't ever trade breakouts. It's simply not a high probability trade. And I'm not saying this won't resume out of here. Even if it does, always wait for the retest. And then the resumption's the high probability trade. It takes patience to play this game. A lot of people are always in a rush. You got to ask yourself, what are you in a rush for? Are you in a rush to make money or to lose money? If you're in a rush to make money, then you better get that posture of patience. If this breaks down to the downside, 34, that looks like not only the target, that looks like a really good place, a safer place to lean into. Again, it's hard to get excited about oil. There's a lot to be excited about in the markets. There's a lot of oil being stored out on the ocean right now, again, because the supply is not there. That's something that I'm paying attention to. What else we got going on? Let's take a look at Bitcoin this morning. Bitcoin had a beautiful, beautiful retest. We talked about that in the afternoon update yesterday. By the way, thank you for all the amazing, wonderful comments on the celebrating the 50,000 milestone on the channel. Really definitely enjoyed that with you all. You could see that we looked at this in the afternoon update, and we have tested and now flipped this 1572 resistance into support and resuming off of it bullish, right? I'm first targeting up here 11,300 in that area, right below that resistance. It was pretty good support on the way up. So why the last time we blew through that level over here, this time I'm looking, my base case is that we're going to, consolidate a little here before we make our move up. So that's what we're targeting over there. Bitcoin seems to be leading, and the rest of the fold, whether it's Ethereum and or the altcoins, are not yet participating. So it looks like Bitcoin is doing the heavy lifting right now. More than anything, the most important thing that we need to be looking forward to right now is what happens tomorrow. I have no idea how the market's going to react to what the Fed says. It's not so much trying to figure out what the Fed is going to say tomorrow, if anything. It's more important how the market reacts. All right, that's what we're going to be watching for. So what else? Let's take a look over here. By the way, I'm going to push up this resistance line I had over here. I'm going to push it up to right over here, right? I'm focused where we became support here, resistance, because this is where the market's focused in on. Kind of in no man's land right now in Ethereum. Okay? A resumption out of there. Do you take that? You know what? This trade actually gets much safer above $390. It gets much safer above that $390. So wait if you're not in the trade already. Now, any test of like over here, the 360 support, the resumption off of it, that's a good level. Could we trade down? Yes. Just because Bitcoin confirmed this into support, does that mean we're going to continue up? No, nothing's a given. Nothing is a given. All right. Boom, 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 boom. What else? We're going to get into FX, it looks like right now this morning. It's a nice, easy session, huh, so far? This is TradingView, tradingview.com. Yeah, so, Gary, I mean, the one, you have the markets kind of making a move ahead of the Fed, right? Are they setting themselves up for disappointment? When I look around me, it seems all of, let's call it traditional finance 1.0. Yeah, and they've been since April waiting for that test of the March lows. They've been on the wrong side for quite a long time, and I see all of them continue to be very concerned. I don't know. I am kind of at these levels very, let's say, neutral. Let's say over here, I wanted to share this with you over here, this little, I think it was a tweet over here. So you had over here Zero Hedge tweeting this morning, and they're saying this is why the Fed manipulates the market cycle. The majority on Wall Street now thinks that it reflects an early cycle recovery instead of a recession. Now, I'm not sure about that. It seems to me that Wall Street is looking for a big, huge correction over here. But you could see back and I said back in 2009, that Zero Hedge was saying the same thing. Remember, from 2009 to it seemed like 2020, Zero Hedge was calling for a market crash. And you could see back after QE, this is when early cycle recession. This is from investors who think it's early cycle rather than recession. This is now flipped again. Now, how many people wish back in 2009 they got long the indexes and stayed long the indexes, right? So, you know what? Trend following machines over there. By the way, big signal over here. MicroStrategy, public company, just completed buying 38,250 Bitcoins. That's signal. That's not noise. They're the first public company to add Bitcoin to their balance sheet. They will not be the last. There will be tech companies following, right? One day. Will you have Google, Apple adding Bitcoin to their balance sheets? Probably before any country announces they've added it to their reserves. Kips, while we're here, you could probably make a lot more of this chart than I can. This is a trade weighted equal weight commodity index monthly. You could see towards the top of the channel. You were talking yesterday about whether or not you could see soft commodities break out over here. You could see that if they are able to break out of this channel, that looks like they have room to really begin running, setting off a real big bullish move. I'll include that link in right over here into the comments if anyone wants to take a look at that chart. Alan, thanks for being here. Thanks for being here to do this with myself. I have to say, by coming from an educator standpoint, by taking the extra time that I do it alone and really explaining things, it really is an enormous asset and benefit for myself. Anyone has been following the channel, whether it's since late October, all of 2000, or really start in March, you've seen how clearly we've been riding these trends, all of them. Thank you for that. No, I don't play game. I don't play like that. So you can't guess what the market's going to do and try to make that a trading strategy. We follow price, right? Price is the only leading indicator, right? I don't, this weekend when we were trading down over here on the verge of either holding or dropping critical support over here, we were watching it, we were tracking it, we're ready for both sides. We're not trying to predict what's going to happen in the markets ever. All we're doing is following the market off of support and resistance with the help of trend lines and chart patterns. And then what it all really comes down to is how you manage your risk, how you manage your trades. That's what trading's all about. It's not trying to guess what is going to happen. This is Grayscale BTC a valid way to trade Bitcoin in an IRA? Yeah, I hold some GBTC inside a Roth IRA. Yeah, yeah. Usually enter. Usually enter because once I enter a trade, I don't exit that trade into either I have my original analysis that I do, and that includes where my stop loss is. My stop loss is where I'm wrong on the trade. When I enter a trade, I do not exit that trade into either that stop loss is hit or I've taken some profit off the table and then moved my stop loss. But I don't, so it's usually enter a trade, not exit a trade. That's yeah. Over it in. So just a quick pause. First and only warning. I just took time, answered your question as clear as possible. Please don't spam the channel, all right, brother? Appreciate that. Yeah, we're gonna go all about right now. We're gonna take a look right now through all of FX. Now that we've run through the market, followed up, see what's going on, and have that little bit of price is everything. That little bit of awareness. Yeah, I don't know. I think the market's going to have to force. I think the market's going to have to force either way. If the market was really crashing, all of a sudden, I think Washington would do whatever they needed to do. That doesn't look like it's going to be happening right now, right? Either way, let's just keep following what's happening. Yeah, I've been trading for 20 years. You guys have, for whatever I'm able to share with you, I love to be able to do it, to sharing my insight. I hope it's a benefit. I hope it's helpful. If it's helped you at all, please go ahead and smash that like button as we get started here today. Let's get a little pumped up and the juices flowing as we're about to go through the markets now and see what's going on in FX, see what we could highlight for later in the afternoon, and then also, come back and then we'll take a look at what's going in the markets as the markets are about to open in about 7 minutes or so. Why not? If you don't trade the E-mini, I suggest trading the E-minis. I think some of the SPX, NDX, SPY, terrible. Let's go. All right. Euro US dollar. You can see that we continue to ride over here, this trend line support over here. A breakdown over there is our first signal that we are in trouble. When I say in trouble, that perhaps this huge move is over. We've been riding this for quite a while now, right? I got involved. I don't think I got involved, right, into this move. This was my entry right over here. This was at the beginning of July. This move could now be over once we break down over there. Watch the DXY. The DXY is having trouble, right? If the DXY starts resuming up off of here, tomorrow's Fed is going to be a huge trigger, and the euro breaks down below here. Of course, that's the signal that things are now in jeopardy of breaking down. We have then this strong support over here, which has become strong support now, right, at 1.17668. Below that is the blue line. The blue line is that 12-year trend line. Very, very, very important. Is it possible we break down, hold over here? That would look like a broadening wedge was then developing, and that could also a breakdown of here. That's when this is really done. That's when we're coming down, I think, to chart the lower bound trend line I'm going to just zoom out really quick so you get a clean look at that. You can see both of those trend lines go back 12 years. So if we lose the blue line, at that point, I'm expecting a much bigger correction. So just always watching the downside, always watching the other side that I'm in of the trade to know where I'm wrong, to know what I could expect, to watch out. That's what you got to do. All right, let's keep going over here. Let's find out what's going on with the Australia US dollar into some resistance right now. Into resistance, just so everyone gets a clear picture, right? There was our last support. Everyone can see the pullback and resumption off the support right there. But now you're into the first level, the first resistance level. What do? Right? Now's when you tighten up your trade. Take some off the table, move your stop loss to break even, always trying to push further out, always trying to push further out, trying to push multiple levels. That's why we avoid sideways markets, right? No trade right there. Am I going to short this into the resistance? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. This isn't an uptrend. In an uptrend, you only buy off support. If you want to improve your trading right away, right off the get, by the way, whether you trade Forex or not, follow what we're doing here. A market's a market and instrument's an instrument. Once you learn how to trade, you could trade any market on any time frame. Should you trade any time frame? No, trade the 8 hours, the easiest time frame to trade. Make things easier for yourself. Trading's about layering edge upon edge. What instrument you trade, what market you trade, what time frame you trade, what time of day you trade. All of these things are edges. If you start layering edge upon edge, you're giving yourself greater probability. How does a casino make money over time? By having the edge. That's the same thing. That's what trading's about. Risk per trade, that's an edge, right? You got to be smart. I think actually the tagline of the channel is trade smarter or something like that on the YouTube banner. So nothing going on there. Australian dollar, Canadian dollar looks like it's breaking above that resistance over there right now. That's great. Why? That sets up a possible entry in the sessions ahead, right? What do we wait for? We got to wait for us to come back down, flip that broken resistance into support, and then we're ready to attack. Keep watching that. Australian dollar, Swiss franc broke out over here, right, into the resistance. Now, this is all good still for me, right? Why is that good? You could see over here, if you watch what happened, by the way, you can see that we've already flipped that broken trend line we had yesterday on the watch list. And we've broken it and have already retested it. You see that long wick down into the broken resistance, now support, and have since resumed up, right? Do you take that signal into resistance? Not myself, right? Keep watching this. One of two things are either going to happen off this resistance. We'll come back down for another retest. That would be a good signal. We'll break above, and then we'll have another opportunity above. I'll keep watching it. It's not really set up for the next 24 hours, but I'll keep watching it. That's what I do, Brandon. That's what I do. If you don't know if the trend is up or down, pretend you're asking a 5-year-old kid, is that up or down? They'll tell you. 8-hour charts on TradingView, it's a simple upgrade to Pro, worth every single penny. You just add 8 and then hours and then add. Go get it. Yeah, Mike, we're on the market. Mike, we're looking at the market right now. As we speak live, we're looking at the market. Mike, if you're just joining and you want to see what's going on with the Nasdaq, S&P, Dow, gold, silver, all you need to do is always, the first thing we do is we start off with the S&P, then we look at the Nasdaq, then we look at the Dow, then we look at the dollar, then we look at gold and silver. Just pull back on the live stream, go to the beginning of the live stream, watch what you want to see, and then come back and join us. Australian dollar, Japanese yen. This is a beautiful, you could see it right there. Resuming off of that test into that broken, flipping that back into support over here, right? Here was the break back above. Here we finally tested and resuming out. Risk is on. Looks good. Australian dollar, New Zealand dollar. This is the one that we said probably looked like one of the best yesterday, right? Now was the wrong. This shot up the wrong time of day for me, the wrong session, but I was already in the trade from here, so I'm just holding now. and continuing to hold. This is not a signal that I would have been able to take. It's just simply the wrong time of day. That doesn't matter. Do I trade long-term bias? No, I don't know if it's that long-term. Swing trading, it's 8 hours the easiest time frame to trade. If you think that you can make more money by trading more, you're dead wrong. All you're going to do is get whipsawed around a lot. You're taking noise. You're not taking signal. I spent years trading the 3-minute time frame on the E-minis, right? Because when I first started trading, I thought that the more trades you take, the more opportunity you have to make money. That's absolutely backwards and not true. I take 3 trades a week is my average. You will make a lot more money if you stop over trading and you start looking for high probability setups. And then you learn to manage those trades. Stop exiting winning trades too soon. There's no way that you can win at this game exiting your trades too soon. That's not how it works. And you know it. It's the exact opposite. You have to push your winning trades. You have to understand that the majority of your profits will come from few of your trades. Mike, it sounds to me that you need to spend a lot of time just with a posture of just watching what's going on and learning. It's a great place to be. It's the best place you could be. If you're unsure about what to do not do anything. You're going to lose your money for sure, right? Mike, take the course, join us, and just get a super boost in understanding what's going on. Yeah, Forex is the most difficult. Forex is the most difficult market to manipulate. A central bank acting alone could only briefly manipulate the market. It takes central banks all acting in unison to manipulate the market. And that's fantastic because when you know the central banks are acting in unison, you could ride that wave like crazy. It's the easiest thing in the world to do. Now, the stock market, which is peanuts. What's the stock market trade? 5 billion a day? It's peanuts. What does FX trade? 5 to 7 trillion a day? No, FX is the most difficult market to manipulate. There you go. There you go. There it is. Beautiful. We'll get into Tesla later. We need to do our homework here. We need to see what's going on in the market so that we can prepare. The markets have just opened. S&P trading at its highs. Nasdaq also. The dollar backing off a little bit, but off its lows. If we get the dollar to break 92.72, if we get the dollar to break down over here, right? And again, we've watched those wicks, right? That could really set a move off. Will it happen before the FOMC? I don't know. It's the questions that I'm asking myself. It's the questions maybe you should also be focused in on. Swiss franc, Japanese yen. Interesting. Hold on, let me clean this up. This is interesting because we have risk on. You see the Australian dollar pairs bid. The equity markets are up. But at the same time, we've seen when we have risk on, it's the Swiss franc outperforming Japanese yen. Not today. Does that look to you, anyone, like a little bit of a bull flag developing? It does to me. You're off the support of it, right? You also have, follow my mouse over there. You see that little peak down right there. You see the area I'm focused on here. That's also some local support right over there. Let's draw that up. Let me move that up. So that's a place resuming out of here. That's a place resuming out of here to watch. This looks good. I'm gonna give that a green light. I'm gonna check out that one later. Bitcoin's gonna perform well in a deflationary environment. It's gonna perform well in a inflationary environment, just like gold, right? Well, when you Sam, when you buy Bitcoin from Oanda, you don't own any Bitcoin, right? You're owning paper. Could you transfer Bitcoin out of Oanda into a hardware wallet? Does Oanda charges you interest to hold Bitcoin? No, BlockFi pays you interest to hold Bitcoin. So there's a lot of reasons why I think why you'd prefer BlockFi over Oanda. Nah, Andre, you did the analysis. All as we did, right? All as we did was look at where the support was. That's all we did together, right? That's all we did was look at and say, look, we're into support if we resume off there. But that's on you, my brother. You did that. You saw it, right? But here we are. You know, that Tesla's again, there it is. So watch out though. Watch out over here. Watch out on Tesla. Watch out. If it loses, watch out if it loses this area of support over here. That could be troublesome, right? Because this could also be putting a big topping pattern right over here. Watch out. I don't This is, you get that big move down and then the pop up and then the resume down. Watch out. The move happened, right? As Andre just said, that's when we were tracking it looking for the long. But watch out over here if you lose that support. That would not be good, right? So anyone managing that trade, just careful. Platinum's taken off this morning. Still having trouble into that resistance over here. Still having trouble into that resistance. That's when we attacked on platinum, remember? Copper. Beautiful. Running into a little bit of trouble as well, though, right now. All right, let me keep going over there. Yeah. I mean, if before answering that question, I do suggest after the live stream, go to the video playlist, the playlist on the channel on Bitcoin. Watch the first 4 videos, and then see if that helps you answer that question. But never take a trade, never make an investment without yourself knowing why you're doing it. Don't ever listen to anybody else's advice. You definitely won't make money that way. You're going to lose money. You could get lucky, maybe, but you have to understand these things for yourself. That's why we're here taking the time and sharing this with you so that everyone, does it matter? AJ, what are you focused on the Bitcoin funding, BitMEX funding rate for? Watch price. Watch price. All right. Everyone knows right now price breaking out of the blue box to the upside and then confirming that as support and resuming off of it. It's bullish, right? Does the funding rate help with that? That, well, so what I saw on copper, right? We put in this trend line over there for the break above, broke above it, and then you could see it's resuming out of there. But I also see at the same time it's running into that resistance. So that's why it's not clear for myself, and it's not clear for myself, right? Because breaking out after the breakout right here, the boom, you want to see that pop. It hasn't popped yet. Maybe it does this session, but right now, that's a little bit cautious. All right, let's keep going, everybody. And listen, the best posture you could have if you are uncertain about everything, you found a great place, an amazing place to learn. Just watch a few sessions, you'll know it yourself, and then all of a sudden, things will start becoming really clear to you. Before you know it, a couple of weeks later, things are really, you're going to really be understanding the flow of the market, and then you're going to want to give yourself a few months and then just stay here. Listen, we're looking at the markets, making it clear, giving you that edge, but it doesn't come. It's not like, hey, just give it to me. Are you kidding? You got to put in the time, right? What happens if you're lifting weights? Like, what are you checking out your arms the first day? Probably. But are you seeing any muscle growth? No, that takes time. That takes work, right? Plant some seeds in the backyard. What happens? They sprout right away? No, you got to nurture that. It's the same thing here. You have an opportunity. Some will realize it. Others will not. Euro, Australian dollar. You know, what do you do in downtrends? You're selling off resistance. But again, to me, this continues to be sideways. I avoid sideways markets. I'm watching this now because if we get a breakdown, right, at that point, that's big. I'll clean this chart up later on my own time. Because if we haven't broke down yet, but if we break down over here, that could open up a big move to the downside. We'll be watching it. Euro, Canadian dollar. Euro Canadian dollar. We're into some resistance over here. We're having trouble right over there into that resistance. This trade does not get, it's an uptrend. There's no doubt about it. It's in an uptrend. If I think I could see like that bull flag, right? Boom. But we're into resistance now. Above here, it'll become interesting. It's not right now. I'm going to leave that in as a reminder for myself. I have no problem if something's not interesting. I just step aside. I'm looking to highlight and flag all different pairs that are interesting, that are giving me opportunity and set up, and then I'll reevaluate them later in the day to see if I want to take any trades. I don't care if there's no opportunity. Why? I'll just keep moving along. There'll be opportunity elsewhere, right? There's always opportunity in the markets. Don't ever feel like you're missing out. Don't ever feel like you're missing out. There's always opportunity, but don't take a trade without knowing what you're doing. Otherwise, you're foregoing that opportunity. You're using your resources, your time, and your capital, and you won't be there to take advantage of when it is. This is sideways for me still. It's still sideways. I don't like that. Move on. Euro, British pound. This one's a difficult one. Why is it difficult? Because of everything that's going on with the Greek exit. Nevertheless, we're still gonna play it out here. All right, we're still gonna play it out. That's our next area of support. After a move up, what are we doing? We're consolidating, right? You see us consolidating. We'll be watching for a next move up here on the Euro British pound. All right, we'll keep tracking it. We're going to start getting dialed in to these British bound moves, because even though I'm not interested, other people are probably interested in this opportunity that is going to be available these next couple of months on the pound. Euro Japanese yen. What do you think about that? I feel like this bit of resistance is kind of in the wrong place. What do you think? Right? That looks a little bit better. No man's land, though. Into some local support over here, but very clear in no man's land. Keep moving. Keep moving until we find something. Is silver doing a false breakout? What? I mean, hold on. I mean, silver's not breaking out. If you go back and you look at when we looked at silver, right? The first thing I said was this is not breaking out here. This line over here, that's just arbitrary. It's just to give you a guide of the pattern that's forming. I said watch gold. Wait for gold to break above 1976, and if it does, then silver is going to follow suit into our target area, right? As long as we hold above 26. As long as we hold above 26, the bullish structure in silver is there completely, right? That was the time to buy. These were times to buy. Right over here, do you buy this? No, right? If you get a breakout, a clear breakout, and then a retest and a resumption up. But I mean, when something's trading up and the whole structure is incredibly bullish, there's no reason to think. Everyone's mind is, I think, like, for whatever reason, programmed. All traders' minds are programmed the wrong way. You really need to really like sit down and have a talk with yourself and figure that out. Why do I say that? Because everyone's trying to pick tops. Everyone's trying to buy bottoms, right? So number one, stop doing that. Don't ever do that again. Fix that. Otherwise, that's an expensive habit. Number two, everyone's always taking profits too soon. Everyone's quick to take profits. And guess what? What do? Do they cut their losers short? No, they hold on to them, hoping they come back. So you have to learn to flip both of those things in your mind, and that's the only chance you have then of succeeding. Yeah, and I think it's not like anyone's making a mistake. I think it's every single person. It's every single person. It's natural, but you need to be better. You need to figure out what's going on, and you need to make conscious efforts to correct and change your behaviors. That's a growth mindset. Platinum, not palladium. All right. Let's keep going over here. Let's just take a quick peek at the markets. Open 15 minutes. S&P trading at the highs of the session. Dow also. Watch it as it comes into the resistance. Nasdaq coming close into some resistance over here, right? Let's put it right there. That's at 11,463 in that area over there. Nasdaq has a lot to do in order to correct this damage. The Nasdaq has a lot to do to correct that damage. DXY still pausing, not giving any, it's indecisive, right? It could go either way. Gold off its highs of the day. You could see the resistance over here. I have it at 1776. Now, these lines are not exact points. These are areas, okay? Everyone, if you've been watching, you know that I missed my take profit over here on silver by just, I don't know, $20 or so, Bitcoin looking good today. Ethereum's not following yet, nor the altcoins, all right? Let's keep going. Let's look for opportunity. Let's see what's going on. Where do we leave off? Euro New Zealand dollar is into some support this morning. Is that an uptrend or a downtrend? You know what? For me, it's like it's almost in the middle. That I don't like that. So I'm just going to stand aside. That's all. Pound. Let's look at some pound pairs over here, right? I'm going to move down this important, strong resistance because we're in a big downtrend over here, right? We were looking at this yesterday, talking about it. What do you do in downtrends? You sell resistance. Do you look to pick bottoms? No. Pound, I'm not seeing the market, so that's okay because tomorrow's the FOMC. I'm not really seeing any opportunity. I'll be watching so far the Swiss franc, Japanese yen, because it's in a strong uptrend, right? Now it has broken below this trend line over here, and you can see that's become resistance. Nevertheless, we're in an uptrend. We're in this bull flag, and we pull back into support. So if she's able to resume out of there, I'm going to be watching that. The risk to reward here is pretty sweet. That's a good trade to watch. If we lose this support over here, what are we looking on the downside? Let me move this up. This is what we'll be targeting next. This is the next area to watch, the next support coming in there at 115.66. If you're happy to be here, if you're learning anything, go ahead and smash that like button. That's all I ask. Help support me in the channel if you learn something. If you don't, it's all good. Pound New Zealand dollar. Right, we just looked at that. Let's look at the pound US dollar. Very indecisive. Do you see me right away when I'm like, if you look at a chart and you don't see it clearly, that's a signal to yourself. Learn to pay attention you have to be able to read yourself and understand yourself. If I am indecisive and unsure about anything, that is great. That's great for me to know and understand. That means that it's just not clear for me. New Zealand dollar, Canadian dollar. This is the wrong color. Not too much to say. You could see that you're into, look at how your eyes should be trained. Do you see that all that was support, trading under it? It's resistance. Look at the touch there. Look at the touch there. That's what I see right away, that we're into some light resistance. I say it's light. I'm not on the daily time frame right now. Let me just check that out really quick. It's actually, a decent level. You could see here it was support. Here was support. Over there, the body closed there. So over there, it was resistance. So it's a level to pay attention to. That's where we're getting caught up right now. Above there, it becomes interesting. Down into support, it becomes interesting. Do not ever buy into resistance. That's right. That's smart, Derek. Whether or not doesn't matter if you're trading the same instrument as me. It does not matter at all. It doesn't matter what market you trade. It's the same concept, even in individual stocks, right? We're talking about following price off the market structure of support and resistance. Carrie, good morning. Glad you're here. Listen, if you're just joining this stream and you want to get a look at gold, anytime you join the stream, we start off looking at the S&P 500 every day, followed by the Nasdaq, the Dow. Then we look at the dollar, the DXY, followed by gold and silver. Just pull back on the live stream and you could get a look at anything you want to. Tomato, but it is support and resistance. There's areas that are sometimes supply and demand. All right, let's keep going over there. That's hard to say. By the way, when you're looking for a break, this is to really protect you. When you're looking for a break of a support or resistance level, you need to see how it closes on the daily time frame. It is common to get spikes above and below lines that don't hold and or close. That's why we never trade the breakout or the breakdown itself. It's a low probability trade. It only gets away from you about 5% of the time. Okay? Those 5% that get away from you, just wave. Bye. I'll get the next one. All right? You're looking for high probability trades. We check out the description below. We live stream every day at 9 o'clock a.m., a half hour before the U.S. equity markets open, 9 a.m. Eastern time. Go ahead and join the Telegram channel over there, and I will send an alert with the channel link, with the live stream link as we go live, so you don't miss anything. Greg, good to see you. All right. We were watching that this morning, right? FOMC's tomorrow. Don't worry about it. All right, so let's keep going over here. You get into a trend before. Listen, tomorrow morning, you're not looking to take any new positions. Still have some nice trading ahead of us. This session, we have London tomorrow. Some nice opportunities still. Trade what's happening on the charts, but do not take any trades tomorrow morning. All right, let's keep going over there. Don't listen. Do not get anyway. Let's just keep going. Some people, if you find yourself that you get emotional over small price moves, you're either trading too big or you just need to go to a higher time frame, right? Or a higher time frame. Above. What are we looking at? Above 1900, is gold bullish or bearish? Super bullish. Everyone should also be able to see that triangle that's developing, right? So everyone should see that triangle developing. So gold is not falling. Gold is unchanged on the day. All right, let's go. Let's keep going. New Zealand dollar, Canadian dollar. We looked at that. New Zealand dollar, Swiss franc. This was something we looked at yesterday coming out of that bull flag. Notice it still was rejected by resistance. I'm going to go ahead and clone this and then go to the top over there. Not really. It's breaking out. Breaking out over there. No signal for me, though. New Zealand dollar, Japanese yen. This is inviting. This is pulling down into support over here. A resumption off of this definitely is a good-looking signal to me. I'll be watching this one. I'm going to green light this one. I have 2 green lights so far. Those are the ones that I'm leaning towards right now. It's impossible. That's right. If you're short-term sensitive, you're going to get whipped around. You're going to be trading too much, and you're going to be losing your money. What could you do to fix that? Go to a higher time frame. Number 1. All right. New Zealand dollar. What are the markets doing? S&P still near its session highs. Nasdaq also. New Zealand dollar, US dollar. All dollar pairs for me right now are fuzzy. Every single one of them. And should they be? Right? Do you see that I did not have a clear read on one US dollar pair? Well, should I also look at the DXY? This is, I see consolidating. Now look back at the New Zealand dollar, US dollar that we were just at. Do you see that same consolidation happening? Is there an edge one way or the other? Absolutely not. Could the dollar go either way from here? Absolutely, right? The dollar could resume off here, but then you got the Fed tomorrow. So tomorrow, breaking above this area, breaking above 93.64, our last swing high, that to me would say, all right, now we got the Fed out of the way, the market's adjusting, and we're breaking out here. This is the counter trend move, and this could be happening. What else could happen, right? We could break down below 92.70, right? At that point, race is off. Dollar is weakening. The dollar right now, you have no edge. Do not trade something without an edge. Watch what's happening. Watch as it develops, and then you'll be there to take advantage of it as it does. New Zealand dollar, US dollar, we're in no man's land. I don't have an edge there. US dollar, Japanese yen, that looks like it's potentially giving a nice signal over here. Let's see if it closes down outside of there, but that would not be the time to take it. I've been so neutral on the US dollar, Japanese yen, right? For quite a while now. Let me move this out of the way so I could see when that is. Since June, but now it looks like it's time to possibly get involved. If we close below here, that all of a sudden lights up a signal for me, right? Breaking out of that consolidation over here to the downside. But do I take that breakdown? No, I will wait. Maybe it's after the Fed tomorrow. I'll get my signal. But that's a good looking trade developing possibly here. Something I want to keep an eye on. What happens if this is a fake breakdown over here, right? And then we come back above to the upside. That's also equally as interesting to me. Maybe I wait till we get above 106.67, that resistance there. So finally, US dollar, Japanese yen is becoming interesting. US dollar, Swiss franc is holding that area, right? Look at that. We looked at that yesterday. It's holding so far. We said, is it possible the US dollar bottoms here, right? We were at the same spot yesterday. We said yes. Nevertheless, I don't pick bottoms. I'm not taking it, right? But if we lose that area of support over here, that could lead to us bleeding out to the downside. That's it. That's where the market's at, right? It was at a critical place. This week is super important. US dollar, Canadian dollar, you could see it resuming off that resistance in a downtrend. But now here the dollar trying to make everything's unclear. Do you know how important it is to be able to distinguish that there's no clarity? Because by being neutral, being on the sidelines, you are in a much stronger position for as soon as things become clear. 3 trades a week, you will drastically improve your performance if you stop over trading. A lot of people take 3 to 5 trades a day. 3 trades a week, you will drastically improve your performance. But if you're in it to gamble, there's nothing I can do for you. I'm here to make money and only to make money. If you're in here to gamble, if you like the action, then hey, you'll find out the hard way. Let's take a look at some individual stocks since FX is not offering much opportunity. That's right. The Fed's not raising rates. Oh, James, is that true? Is that true? So if you got the dollar going up, let's check that out. Let's check out that thesis. All right. So over here we have, what is this, January 1st. We have the dollar go from 96.54. Wow, super bullish trend, by the way. All the way up here to 100. Super strong move on the dollar. What did gold do? And that gold would be going down then, right? What did gold do? Oh, wait. Gold was down here at 1471. And then, wow, look how strong gold is there. Wow, gold is outperforming the dollar. That dollar just went to 100, super strong, and gold was stronger. So all right, we'll I guess not. Buy the rumor, sell the news? No. So often, John, often that's true, right? What is buy the rumor, sell the news? Well, Tesla battery, what day? That's a rumor. Buy that, and then as the event happens, sell it. That's buy the rumor, sell the news. Now, when it comes to the FOMC tomorrow, what is that? Let's see what the Fed says, and let's see how the market reacts. That's the important thing to do on a day like tomorrow. DXY is down on the day still. Down on the day. New York is tricky. Don't let them get you. Go up to a higher time frame. Have a high, whether it comes to trading or investing, Those who have a higher time preference have a greater degree of success. Okay, take a breath here for a second because it's been a quick stream. We've only been streaming right now for 1 hour. It's an action-packed hour because we looked at the whole market, but I'm not really seeing any clarity whatsoever. I have a very strong overview of the market now, and I see that everything is coming down to a critical juncture where it's going to break one way or the other. But I have the FOMC tomorrow, and I have no way of knowing ahead of time which way it's going to break. Right? Emmanuel, without question, the best way to get into trading is in the link below. Click on the link, trade with me, work with my program, work with my course. Watch these live streams every day and watch the other videos I upload in the afternoon. And I would say within a reasonable amount of time, within 3 months, you're going to really know what it takes and how, and have the ability to make a profit in the markets. Now, the other option is just like the markets, you have limitless opportunities, right? I think it's a hard journey, a difficult journey. I think it's extraordinarily difficult. If anyone has been trading here for an extended period of time and doesn't know how to make money, they could affirm that. I have no idea what will happen after FOMC tomorrow. I have no idea. It doesn't matter. What you want to pay attention to is not what you think is going to happen, unless you knew it was going to be, for example, back in December of 2018 when the Fed raised rates, and then you knew that was a mistake. That's a whole different situation because the Fed it's not a live meeting tomorrow where they're going to be raising rates, right? So that's off the table. It's a different set of circumstances. The Fed Powell just spoke in Jackson Hole. They said, listen, we're going to be keeping rates on zero for the foreseeable future, as well as trying to run inflation hot. But they didn't give any details how they're going to do that. Probably tomorrow, they're also going to be light on details. Is the market going to like that? Probably not, but I don't know. I'm going to wait and see how the market reacts. That's signal. Don't try to predict the future. Watch what happens. That's all. That's one of. By the way, everyone is looking ahead of the elections. Everyone is looking for the markets to sell off and for the uncertainty and when everyone is on one side of the trade, though, the odds of that happening are less and less. That's at least what I'm beginning to lean towards. Thank you, but when people will come to the point when they're just tired of losing money, and at that point they will. But thank you for that. I do appreciate that affirmation. All right, so what are we looking at today? Let's follow what's going on a little bit. The S&P continues. By the way, do you see that we're into some resistance here, right? Do you see we're into some resistance right now, and that to really take back this damage done this past week, we need to take out the last swing high, right? That would be right over here. So we're on the verge, but we still got some work to do. The Nasdaq is lagging. Here's the last swing high on the Nasdaq. All right. Could they both do it? Yeah. The Dow is also at some pretty important resistance, right? The Dow is actually sold off from that resistance. You see it right there? The Dow is sold off from that resistance. All right. The dollar unchanged on the day. Look at that. Unchanged on the day. The one thing that we did take a look at is those wicks below that support, and it's having trouble holding that. But that's not any signal, right? A resumption off of here, that's not this. Even though that's support on a normal trading day, I would take that. Tomorrow's the FMC. Well, let the market prove itself. And I don't know if that's 94 for me. Above 94 for sure. We're seeing a counter trend move. or 93.64 perhaps, right? I'll be watching both those levels. Gold backing off from the resistance over here, but still, and this is the important piece, still maintaining that triangle. Okay, it's 1900 you're watching on gold. A breakdown below that sets it off. Same thing with silver, right? We just came into the resistance. It's still consolidating. It's still super bullish, consolidating after a leg up inside a triangle. Bitcoin off its highs on the day, but still up nicely. More importantly, it has, after breaking out of the blue box, it has came back down and tested that 10,572 broken resistance and confirmed it as support and is resuming off of it. Australian dollar, Canadian dollar, not yet. Not yet. So you have to wait for some time here. What do I mean by that? Like, you're looking for price for a retest. You're looking for price then to come back down. This couldn't happen before tomorrow's session. Okay, this is simply into resistance right now. It hasn't done anything. It's not a retest yet. Square makes money from people purchasing Bitcoin, buying or selling Bitcoin on the fee, right? Brokers make money on the spread. So Square is making money from people purchasing Bitcoin. That's because I want to make money. It's people traders talk about a lack of discipline that comes from, number one, simply not having a trading plan, not having a strategy. You have a lot, like your strategy is I'm buying the euro US dollar. That's not a strategy. A strategy is I'm buying the markets and selling as the Fed meets tomorrow. That's not a strategy, right? Lack of discipline becomes from not having a strategy. Once you have a strategy that works, that you know and trust, you'll have zero problem sticking to it simply because you want to continue to make money. So that's where the patience comes from. That's where it comes from. It's actually difficult until you get it, and then it's the easiest thing in the world. What's a good ticker here for us to look at? There we go. So by the way, when I'm looking at this chart, I mean, what I'm really saying to myself is that you want to be preemptive. What does that mean? Right? By being preemptive is you're getting into the move before it happens. How do you do that? Buying off support and uptrends, selling off resistance and downtrends. People over here they're involved in this trade are already involved in that trade, obviously. They're managing their trade. There is absolutely no new entry, right? I want to take a look at what's going on over here. I could see that little bit of support and then resistance and then support and then resistance. Follow that over. There's some resistance right above there, right? So that's a place to manage a trade. Let's draw that in there. What about some nice supports? Right there. Do you see that touch over there? That was resistance. Resistance again. Here it's support. Here it's support. What's happening over here? This is where, now that we're above it, it's support. It was resistance. You could see it held into here resistance. So it moved back down into there. That would be the earliest place you could look to lean back into this, right? What's the next support below that, by the way? And that's coming in right over here. Let me add that line as well. You could see those touches over there. Over there, you see it was right into play. It's like magic, isn't it? Those are both areas and opportunities on a pullback to lean into. And maybe you don't get that. Maybe we're able to bust above here. That's a great opportunity as well, because then you're waiting. That's even more bullish. Then you're just waiting for the pullback and resumption up. Market's not giving any type of clue over here. Watch Tesla if it trades below that line. That's where we are today. That's where we are today. No, I don't take. No, the course costs next to nothing. You can the course costs next to nothing. And if you think you could put a value on teaching someone how to trade profitably in the markets, you can't. It's almost invaluable. There are courses that sell for thousands and or more that do not even teach someone how to be profitable. You can't put a value on the course. It's absolutely invaluable, right? But I don't take phone consultations for someone. The course is not for you then. That's okay. That's fine for me. But, I don't talk about the VIX. I don't follow the VIX. It doesn't add to my trading whatsoever, right? Zero. Am I able to tell when the VIX is trading high? Of course. I just look at the price action on the indices. But the VIX doesn't give me an edge whatsoever. I don't trade with the VIX. Zero. The opportunity's there for those that are able to see it. But for those that are not, they're not. So that's but thank you, Rex. Thank you very much. Nice trade yesterday. Is your time frame is longer than swing trading? Then does buying during consolidation period make sense? For example, silver. So Cyber, I mean, it's an interesting question. Like if you're saying if my time frame is longer, right? If I'm looking, for example, to hold silver for the next 6 months or year, does it really matter if I buy $27 silver, $30 silver, or $24.50 silver? I mean, that depends, right? Whether or not if you're dollar cost averaging, then not so much. And dollar cost averaging, by the way, is a fantastic strategy. It's a fantastic strategy when you're in Bitcoin, dollar cost averaging, of course. Gold, silver, of course. But if you could, put in the little bit of effort it takes to just understand the market structure of support or resistance and these chart patterns, and then buy at an opportune place, because to be honest, right now, there's no edge while you're consolidating inside this triangle. And if we break down to the downside, we could be seeing some lower prices on silver, right? Even to 23 easily. And I would much prefer to take the extra bit of time and patience and wait for a stronger signal than just buying randomly. I guess that's because I could see it. The course teaches how to trade anything, right? Now, I'm going to suggest, and when I suggest something, I should strongly suggest that you listen, because I could teach you how to make money, right? So trading FX, by the way, is much easier. And in the course, we go over talking about equity markets versus Forex to understand why. But you have a much easier, and by the way, you'll before you're making money, it makes no sense trading real money. Learn how to trade on FX, which is a better and easier market to trade, right? There's a lot of people who join the course and they stick with gold, silver, and the indexes for about a month. And then they go, okay, Jordan, I see other people making money. I'm going to listen to you. And then they learn on FX, which is easier. And then they understand the market structure. And then you could go to trade individual stocks. You could go to trade the indices. You could trade the precious metals. You could trade crypto. It's all the same thing. A market is a market. An instrument is an instrument. Not yet, Juan, but I will be. I'm thinking maybe this weekend. Tonight, we're doing actually a training session for the CTM group for those specifically that are in Australia. It's at It's at 9:00 p.m. Eastern time, a little later than normal, and that's so that we could include those down under. Anyone listening from Australia, right? This one's for you, but the replay will be available for everyone else. I will absolutely be looking to being neutral protects your cash, and having that ability to be able to attack when it's clear, That's priceless. But I will be uploading that video. It's an important one, so I'm not going to rush it. And there's no rush. There's no FOMO, but it's an important one. Yeah. Kiwis also, Ali. Kiwis also. You got it. DXY turning positive on the day. So that's defined as hold on, let me show you. This right here, right? This is the ultimate goal of the course. 2 to 3% per month, right? That's enormous. That's enormous. That's what is that, right? 24, 36% a year. That's enormous. And anyone into fire, right? That will help you meet all of your goals, right? So the first goal is turning the corner to profitability. That should be the first goal of any trader, right? 3 to 5 weeks following the course, you should be there. Then we're looking for consistently profitable. It's defined as 3 months in a row of a 1% return. From there to get to there is just flipping the switch, right? Because our risk per trade here is minuscule. It is so ridiculously low. All right. Yes, I believe that's the best place to start. If you don't have any experience whatsoever, you're an open slate. You don't have any bad habits to break. Other people could have years of experience and lots of knowledge. And that's awesome. That's an edge in itself. But then it's also a little bit more difficult to let go of bad habits. Yeah. If you're able to watch these live streams and do our analysis, right? If you're able to spend, 20 minutes a day doing your analysis, 30 minutes a day, and then again, have another 10 minutes in the evening, that's what it takes. But of course, we trade the 8-hour time frame, right? Only orders placed during the London session overnight. While you're sleeping, you should be able to do it easily. No, alt season has not begun. By the way, Mark, so this is a great question. In my view, that Ethereum started its bull market once it broke $360. It's above it right now. It's still above $360 over here. Ethereum is starting its bull market run, and this is going back to research I did during the bear market. Alt season does not technically start until 6 months after the Bitcoin halving, right? June, July, August, September, October, November. So we're just getting started here. Alt season will not be over until the winter of 2021. Alt season has not even begun. Sometimes price breaks away, and that's not a trade you take. That's not a trade you take. I don't know if you're talking about individual stocks, which are, again, that's stocks. Individual stocks are much more difficult to trade. Why? Because they don't trade overnight. So you could get those runaways a lot more frequently. Thank you for that. Thanks, Michael. I do appreciate that. Yeah, my only thought on IPOs, this is the most important thing I could probably share when it comes to IPOs. I bought the Facebook IPO. I bought the Google IPO. I sold both of them thinking that I was a hero for some type of profit. And that was probably the biggest trading mistake I ever made on both of them. Because those small investments in each of them today, both of them would have been enormously significant, right? So if that's, and what is that lesson? Time preference. If you're 20 years old, right, and you're buying Tesla, well, maybe you should buy Tesla as an asymmetrical bet that it either goes to zero or is a fortune 20 years from now. Think about that, right? So time preference, time preference, time preference. As no one taught me that as a kid. I had no idea. $100%. 100%. 100. I do my analysis during this time, right where you are right now. I set orders for the London session, and I'm sleeping. Nice heads up. I mean, are they still looking for 3 trillion or 2 trillion? You know what? Anyway, I just wish we had elected leaders who are just looking out for all of our interests on both sides of the table. That's all. Yeah, me too. I didn't understand exactly. Me too. I thought Amazon was. Anyway, I didn't even think they were going to make it. And I remember Apple. at $22 getting back in. I had no perspective. Perspective needs to be. How come they don't teach kids about finance in school? Man. I think we're in a holding pattern, gentlemen and ladies. Tomorrow's a big day. Tomorrow's a huge day. Now, if people are wondering why I take any trades tonight, it's possible. I didn't see the markets really. I didn't see like a wave coming in the markets that was interesting to me. I didn't see a wave that was coming in, like a set of waves coming in that I would get interested in. Maybe I like the New Zealand dollar, Japanese yen. I like it because look at this. This is a 5-year trend line over here that we're trading above. It's a 5-year trend line. I'm in an uptrend since March in a swing trader's perspective, of course. We're in a big uptrend. Now above this huge 5-year break. You can see that we've already tested that trend line, flipped it above, and now above that support. If we resume up off this, that happened last night. I wasn't looking at it. If I get it, this is something that I'm watching and interested in. I don't really see it. So I see a lone wave. I don't really see that set of waves coming in. Maybe that looks different this evening when I go over my charts again. Maybe, but probably not. We got the FOMC tomorrow. This week is still going to be full of a lot of action. That's right. I'll be doing an update. I'll be posting an update at the normal time every day by what time is it? By 5 o'clock Eastern time, we have that afternoon update. So I'll be posting that for sure. See that gold right now is actually coming back and resting into that local support right over here, right around that area, right around 1950. Got some local support. Do not get this is bullish until we lose 1900. So the Dow is the one who first got the biggest rejection off of that resistance. Back up now though. Markets are waiting, and the markets are waiting on the Fed. That's the most important thing everyone should be able to see today. I'm gonna check it out myself. I'll check out that. I'm thinking if I want to take a bet on Tesla as an asymmetrical bet that it goes to zero, or not for my kids, buy them all. Shares. I'm thinking of that. This is when we were looking at Tesla trading into support, right? This is when we were talking about resumption off the support was the time to buy. Now be watching very carefully. If you lose this support over here, you should be getting out of the trade, taking your profits off. Of course, as long as you're holding this area of support, this has the ability to keep running. Next resistance, I would say, is a little bit lower. Like, let's move this back. That's the next resistance. 1490. Yes, brother. That's awesome. That's awesome. Thanks, Gino. Mr. B. Marie. All right, everybody. Have a beautiful day. Tomorrow's a big one. I'll see you then.